Welcome back to the show. We got a great one lined up. The last mile, ladies and gentlemen. Ripple and XRP move into the pole position, and I'm going to show it to you. Somebody roll that beautiful intro.
Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show. You can follow us on X, YouTube, and DigPerspectives.com for exclusive content. Right now, $3.81 trillion market cap for crypto. The market is off 2.3%. Bitcoin falling to 109,000 plus right now. Ethereum 3,800 plus, falling well below the 4K plus they were at. XRP at the number 4 spot is 272. Everything's falling like a manhole cover from the sky. What is going on? Well, we're going to talk about it. We're off 3.6 on the 24 and off 10.2 on the 7-day. Ethereum's off 13.8 on the 7-day and 6.3 for Bitcoin. So it's all across the market, ladies and gentlemen. And I say this is the doldrums of August and September if you've been in crypto for a while. And we know that there's been some FUD on the crypto bill that is in the Senate right now, the Clarity Act. But I assure you, I really firmly believe they're going to get it passed. That's happening. So let's take a look at the range of price. Ranging between 271 and 286. I have to shout out JR, Uncle Greg, and Chris because they all reached out to me and said, did you buy the dip? Oh, and Sean too. Yeah, my brother Sean, the official legend of the Digital Asset Investor channel. Yeah, shout out to all those gentlemen for reaching out to me. I did buy the dip. I bought it twice in the last 2 days. I am tickled to death that I got a hold of that dip, and I hope you all had the opportunity to do it too. Now, I didn't get to put as much as I'd like to on that dip, but I bought it out of discipline, so I'm proud of myself for going through it. And I tell you what, if you haven't gone through getting your account open at iTrustCapital, whether it's an IRA or whether it's a PCA, what in the world are you waiting for? We are witnessing the greatest financial paradigm shift in the history of mankind, and you have the ability to capitalize on it through crypto, gold, and silver IRAs or the PCA account as well, and have access to all of it, the physical gold and silver as well. So, look, this is just opportunity screaming at you right here. And you could have a massive power move by moving your 401k into the IRA. You could have a massive power move by putting your long-term assets in the PCA account and take advantage of that closed loop system in the PCA, which removes the attack vector from SIM swaps and things of that nature. Now, you could still get hacked in all of these things, but where it's a closed loop system is you go in with your cash and crypto, you trade all the assets 24/7 you want, you get anything you want in there, and then when you come out, whether you've been hacked or not, it can only come out one way. You cannot take the crypto out of the PCA. That's where the safety measure comes in. You can only come out as cash to your US checking account. It cannot be rerouted. So if you were hacked, that would be the worst case scenario. If you're looking for peace of mind, this is exactly where you can find it. It's itrustcapital.com/XRP Army. Use the code at the bottom and get started today. This is a reminder here that we could be 4 days away, according to the executive order for the U.S. Treasury, to do a full modernization of its payment infrastructure. It's at this point that I remind everybody about this post we covered the other day as well. This was all the way back in March 25 when the executive order about modernizing payments to and from America's bank accounts, and shows from Marshall Hayner here from Metallicus, shows the layer of XRP in there with everything else that's built on that. So we are excited to see what we can learn once we get beyond September 30th. Do I expect the price to jump? Nope. Would I be upset if it did? Nope. So, but the reality is the more we can learn about what is in this stack being used that we could verify for 100% certainty is what we're looking for beyond September 30th. So head on the swivel for that. Hopefully we can learn something next week. And here's David Schwartz laying this down for you. We're getting ready to move into utility phase, ladies and gentlemen. Take a listen.
I'm David Schwartz, CTO at Ripple and co-creator of the XRP Ledger. I do think that DeFi, broadly speaking, meaning blockchain, smart contracts, and the whole ecosystem that's being built around it, is going to take a huge bite out of TradFi over the next couple of years. The big challenge is the blockchain space is going to have to produce the services that people want from the financial system. It can't just be collectibles, and it can't just be, seeking very high reward at very high risk. But I do think that we are going to see the DeFi space, especially with the tools that institutional adoption is going to provide, with assets to things like tokenized real world assets, tokenized loan and real estate portfolios. That's going to produce the products and services that people want out of a financial system. I don't think there's a tension between institutional adoption and decentralization. I think that ecosystems are interested in layer one blockchains because of their decentralization, because of their neutrality. So I think institutions will see that the neutrality of blockchains is a positive for them rather than a negative, because I think ultimately that will be the selling point.
I think he's got it spot on. Well, why wouldn't he? It's David Schwartz. But, I think Riz highlights the neutrality part of it. And although David was being a bit more broad about the conversation, I think Riz has got it here. Institutions will see that a neutral bridge is a part of that neutrality, and that's a positive rather than a negative. And I feel exactly the same way about it. Let's keep moving here. This is a reminder from the Digital Euro Association, the same one that Ripple's partnered with, highlighting the great news we heard this past week of DBS, Franklin Templeton, and Ripple collaborating to offer trading and lending solutions for accredited and institutional investors. Can you say utility? Yeah. These solutions involve tokenized money market funds on the XRP ledger, and that ain't all. And they link up between Ripple, DBS, and Franklin Templeton to enable repo trades for tokenized money market funds with a regulated, stable, and liquid mode of exchange, such as real USD, is truly a game changer, says the VP and Global Head of Trading Markets at Ripple. Shout out to Nigel Cuckoo. And I tell you, when I look at this, I'm excited because, as Jack McDonald said, the repo market, which is the back-end wholesale lending rate for the banking system, and that is in the tune of tens of trillions of dollars, ladies and gentlemen. And as of now, we haven't heard anybody else setting up that connection to that deep of liquidity. And then we heard this as well. CFTC launches an initiative for using tokenized collateral, including stable coins and derivatives markets. This is another huge unlock of absolute deep oceans of liquidity, ladies and gentlemen. Seeking public feedback by October 20th. And basically, as Ondo Finance rightfully captures here, the public has spoken. Tokenized markets are here, and they are the future, says Caroline Pham, the acting chair of the CFTC. Shout out to Commissioner Pham. The Commodities Future Trade Commission announces the initiative to permit stablecoins and tokenized U.S. Treasuries to serve as collateral in the derivatives markets with notional value in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. And as I reported, there's Brad Garlinghouse in the lineup with so many others. We're in there, and we're also tapping into that derivatives market, which is $400 trillion. Doesn't mean we'll get it all, but we're getting permission to tap into it all. So the race is on, ladies and gentlemen. And then we saw this. We saw the global cooperation between the U.S. and U.K. authorities to push blockchain innovation and international policy alignment. Is anybody figuring out right now why I bought the dip twice in the last 2 days? I'm just asking for a friend. Cassie Craddock from Ripple, managing director of UK and Europe, is right in the mix, ladies and gentlemen. And then she had this to say just earlier today. So she says, earlier this week, I posted about Downing Street Roundtable during President Trump's state visit to the UK that I attended alongside representatives from the UK and US governments and financial and crypto industries. This meeting was a precursor to the announcement of the UK-US Transatlantic Task Force for Markets of the Future, an important initiative which will build on the deep and enduring partnerships between UK and the US in financial services. Now, before I read another word, it is important that all of us understand just how gigantic the UK is as a financial hub. And they are also becoming a huge crypto and financial hub. And knowing what we know about the CFTC doing what they're doing, unlocking the ability to tap into that $400 trillion of liquidity, that's going to be necessary when you start connecting global hubs together, like the UK and the US, which we're seeing here. The new task force will lead to closer cooperation, between the US and UK on digital assets, creating an opportunity to align on stablecoins, tokenization, and cross-border market access, as well as setting a template for international cooperation in our industry. As a US headquartered company with major presence in the UK, Ripple is well placed to leverage its strong transatlantic footprint for further drive US and UK tech innovation, and we're looking forward to contributing to the work of the task force. No question. Shout out to you, Cassie Craddock. And here is at the same time, while all of what we just talked about is unfolding, Swift says, big news. We're launching major new initiative to transform payments for consumers and small businesses. Working with some of the world's biggest banks, and their new scheme will ensure that cross-border retail payments are as fast and predictable as domestic ones. And guess what? I used to use Swift because I was a global importer back in the day, and it's horrible. I don't mind telling you. So I happen to feel like Ripple's in the mix somewhere. When they get into what the mix is, I think we all know, as Unknown DLT says here, we all know what the new standard is. It's XRP. I believe it is too, but we need more information. But a new standard for cross-border retail payments, together with a coalition of over 30 early adopter banks. They're developing rules that will set new standards, upfront transparency on payments on FX fees, which is exactly the benefits of using Ripple Stack and the ledger, guaranteed full value delivery, end-to-end visibility of transactions, commitment for instant settlement where available. This is the kind of stuff we're talking about right here, right? So I think we're headed there. And then this came out just this morning. Now you tell me what's going on here. Swift just put this out, and this was 6 a.m. this morning, so just 2 hours ago. So today, 75% of payments traveling over our network reach beneficiary banks within just 10 minutes. But more work is needed at the final stage of payments journey. And remember, this is messaging payments, not the actual settlement. The last mile to address friction that delays funds from being delivered to end beneficiaries. Did they say the last mile? Spotlight on speed, why the last mile is the longest, complex reporting requirements, country-specific FX risk controls, lack of 24/7 real-time infrastructure, manual and fragmented processes. Are you hearing this? Well, remember when Ripple was talking about the last mile back in 22? Remember that? The last mile in global payments refers to the movement from FI to end recipient, which can be fraught with inefficiencies. So now Swift is using the terminology the last mile as Ripple had done previously years before. Another signal that tells me to speculate and lean in towards the idea that Ripple and the XRP ledger will be a part of Swift's new vision. Let's keep it moving. And I cannot leave without showing you that Watcher Guru post that originally the tweet was deleted, but it already been posted across all of their socials. Did they jump the gun, and was the account compromised? Don't be fooled. Swift nearing an agreement with Ripple to use XRP for cross-border payments was the post back in the day. And then they immediately took it down, and it was on all of their social media platforms. And BitTrue announced it also on the same time. And then they both claimed that they were all hacked. And within a minute, and I do mean a minute, they had their account back. I happen to feel that that was released too soon, and it wasn't supposed to go out, maybe under embargo, and it's not ready for release yet. But I tell you this, I like the signs that I'm seeing. It doesn't mean we're right, but it looks like it. It looks like it. I'll leave it there. $9.60 to $33. XRP could soar. Everybody's talking about capitulation in the market. The price is falling over. All the prices are falling over right now. But are we going to ignore the legislation that's about to get passed? Are we going to ignore the taxes that are about to be sorted out? Are we going to ignore the ETFs that are all about to be approved? Are we going to ignore the banking license and the Federal Reserve master account? I'm not financial advice from me or anyone else. It's just my digital perspectives. We're going into the freedom zone today. Oh, we're going way back. Oh, yeah, we're going to talk about the towers. Yeah, you remember the towers. I can't say it another way because I don't trust YouTube. But I hope you will join us inside the Freedom Zone. It costs next to nothing. All your daily videos with 0 Google ads, worth the price of admission. It's less than the cost of a cup of coffee. So don't mess around. Come on in.